week 2 was definitely not as smooth as week 1. Last week was our first week of homeschool, and it went so great, so smooth, so great. This week was a little bit different. If you're new here, my name is Jocelyn, and we are in our second year of homeschool. I have a 5-year-old and 6-year-old, almost 7-year-old. I had just planned to do a 1-week update and then wait until the end of the term. We do 6-week terms. However, this week was just so different than last week. I just thought it was important to show a different perspective of you can have your good weeks, you can have your bad weeks, but I think it's important to bring all of that to the YouTube table and just show everybody our reality. So I'm going to go over everything that we did this week, what the struggles were, what I'm realizing going into our second week or at the end of our second week, and changes that I'm probably going to have to make moving forward. But first up, let's go over everything that we did. I think it's important to talk about, all the curriculum that we're doing and how the kids are doing. But I also think it's important to talk about how us moms are doing or us parents are doing the people doing the homeschooling are doing, because that can have an effect on how the homeschool itself is going. And I think that, as the person that is providing the homeschool, that is such a huge component and can set the whole tone. So this week was definitely a little bit off for me, and I don't know if that's why it was a little bit of a struggle in our homeschool. If you've been following our channel, you know that at the end of last year, I had a lot of car issues, and that caused a lot of anxiety and like panic attacks over the summer with driving. And I finally got a new car. I got my new car over this past weekend, and the second time driving it, the axle on the car actually broke as I was driving it. So this isn't my new car. Not going to go into a lot of the nitty-gritty details, but I just felt really defeated at the beginning of this week. We couldn't go anywhere. We didn't have a car. This was my new car. This was a new start for us with a new car, and then we had these issues. So, and then on top of that, my external hard drive broke. So all of my digital curriculum, anything I've bought PDFs digitally, whatever, they're gone. They're just gone. I don't know how. My husband did an analysis on the hard drive and everything, and he said one of the PDFs that I had bought, he thinks had a virus on it, and it just wiped out my whole external hard drive. So just make sure that when you're purchasing curriculum and you're purchasing, digital PDFs, you're purchasing it from a reputable site. I don't think that um, I don't think that I bought anything questionable, but my external hard drive is gone. So that was kind of, just on top of things. Just kind of had a heavy week. But overall, we did a lot of work this week. The kids were really great. They were showing up. My son actually told me, Mommy, I really love school this year. I didn't love it last year, but this year I'm really loving it. I love all of our programs. So, doesn't matter how heavy life can get, your kids can really just turn it around and have those special moments. So let's go ahead and get into what we did. I am realizing we last week we started with all of the things that I wanted to do for 36 weeks. This week we brought in Spanish. I'm just bringing in one thing per week. This week was Spanish, and the kids absolutely loved it. So that's really great because last year we used level 1 from Homeschool Languages, and it was just not, I wasn't feeling it. The kids enjoyed it, but I wasn't feeling it. So I have picked something completely different this year, and they really love it. They're speaking in Spanish as much as they possibly can, and it's been very entertaining. But I love that they're so excited about it. So let's go ahead and get into it. In last week's video, I went day by day and into what we did. My plan was to really just do this schedule for a couple weeks and then adjust as necessary. But this week I did have to make some adjustments. So on Monday morning, we started out with my son's exploration education, which is his elementary physical science kit. This is something he's doing on his own. He built a car last week, a derby car, and he did an experiment with it. This week, he learned about force. So he watched his videos and he colored in pushing and pulling the different colors. Oh goodness, it's raining. We're finally getting rain after literally months of not having rain. So everything is so brown here. Um, I don't know if you've seen in the news, Puerto Rico is like rationing water at this point. And so I'm getting wet. I'm getting raindrops on me, but I don't mind because it's hot and it feels good. Okay, so that was on Monday morning. So while he did this, my daughter and I did her mom and me my mom and me journal. We did a page out of this. We did some coloring together. So by the time my son was done with his workbook and his videos, he came to the table. They both wanted to work on their Heart and Mind by Evan Moore. They pulled this off the shelf. So already Monday morning was kind of spiraling. The only thing I had on my schedule was exploration education. And now we have moved into Heart and Mind journals or workbooks, and that was not on my schedule. And my daughter's actually included a craft. So she had to build this mobile. So she had to cut it out. We punched holes, we tied strings, and we glued things. And so that took a good chunk of time. So while she was doing that, my son wanted to do his, and his was super easy, super simple. We just read a story and then we had to talk about the characters in the story and taking turns. So that was really quick. But overall, this just pushed our morning back like quite a bit. So on top of that, we did a story out of Exploring the World Through Story. I don't think doing this twice a week. I really want to do this twice a week. That's not going to work. I'm actually going to move this to Fridays. Friday is our light day where we just do workbooks, explode the code, and mathematical reasoning. So I'm going to actually move this to Fridays because it is just, I don't think it's going to fit into our week and into our rhythm after going through this whole week and kind of observing our routine. So this is getting moved to Fridays. So that was Monday morning. I had on the schedule Exploring the World Through Story and Exploration Education. So then we had to get into our core block. And by this point, it was pretty late in the morning. For language arts this week, my daughter did her pinwheels. She's doing really well with it. She's picking up concepts very quickly. She is doing invented spelling, which is where coming up with your own thoughts and putting them on paper. And she really loves doing this. She has a notebook that she has, and that she'll literally walk around the house and she'll just write a sentence about something that she sees in the house or something that's going on. And then she'll bring it to me and ask me what it says. And for the most part, she's been doing a pretty good job. I mean, she loves to write and she loves to draw. And I really love that she now is starting to have the tools to be able to do that on her own instead of relying on us to um, instruct her, I guess, if that makes sense. Like she's getting a lot more freedom and you can really see it. So that was her pinwheels. One thing that I noticed and I talked about in last week's video is their handwriting. Their handwriting really slipped over the summer and both of them are struggling coming back into this school year. And this is one of the reasons I want to put um, Exploring the World Through Story on a Friday and just take that language arts aspect out of the week is I am bringing this in on a daily basis. My son is doing my printing book and my daughter is doing the letters and numbers for me, the orange book. We're going to start doing this daily. And we can do it at the beginning of the day. We can do it during our language arts, but it has to be done every day because both of them are really struggling with letter formation and number formation. So this is coming back into our daily routine. So for my son's language arts, he actually finished Pinwheels level 1. Very big news, very exciting. And we finished the week with doing his assessment. Pinwheels actually gives you student assessments that you give. Some you give at the beginning of the year, some you give in the middle of the year, and some you give at the end of each year. So I have done it on the schedule and you kind of just see their growth. And some things that he started, he got like a 20 or 30% at the very beginning before we started. And now he was doing 100%. So that was really awesome to see. I think out of all of the assessments, he made one mistake. So that was really great. And I'm really comfortable moving into level 2. So, into year 2. So on Monday of next week, we will be starting Pinwheels year 2 for my son. We are also doing for reading. My daughter finished this week The Runt Pig, so next week she'll be moving into Cobweb the Cat, which is the third reader from All About Reading. And then my son read me one whole story over the course of the week from Elephant and Piggy. And this was a good call. He laughs. They both laugh. My daughter will sit there and listen to him read, and they are both just laughing. Um, so that's really fun to see them engaged with the story that they're actually reading. Okay, so that is language arts. Math. Both of my children are in subtraction, which could also be part of the reason it was such a hard week. Last week we did, for her, we did -1 and 0, I think. And it was smooth sailing. This week we're doing -3 and -4, and it's definitely meeting a little bit of resistance. But on top of that, um, she has actually asked to start doing Math Mammoth. Now, she doesn't want to give up Math with Confidence. So we're doing her Math with Confidence. And then every day she said, when can I do the other workbooks, the Math Mammoth workbooks? So I finally, by the end of the week, I printed it off. I printed off the basic subtraction just because she's got her addition facts down very, very well. But because she was kind of stumbling over a couple of the concepts with Math with Confidence, which this is my second time through beginning subtraction with Math with Confidence, so I feel a little bit more comfortable and not panicking so much at them not understanding or frustration. Like, this is totally normal with subtraction, that I'm not worried or anything like that about her grasping subtraction. However, she's young, she's 5. So I don't mind stretching out the subtraction and bringing in other methods as long as she is comfortable with that. So we actually brought in the Math Mammoth basic subtraction. We are not doing a full lesson. She wants to do her math with confidence, so we go through her math with confidence. And then we did half of a worksheet, and she only does half of the problems on half of the worksheet. But this is something she's asked for. So as long as she is wanting to do this, I have no problem. I don't want to overwhelm her with math. I will not force her to do 2 different math programs in one day. I think Math with Confidence is plenty enough, but she wants to do it. Okay, so at the beginning of the chapters for Math with Confidence, they have these introductions that you can read, and she tells you about the chapter and what you're going to be going over. But then she also gives you games and activities. And one of these activities has an actual linked game board. I printed it off, and we played this game with both children all week, and they really, really loved it. Basically, you roll the dice and you subtract. So I only had a 6-sided die, so we started at 10 on the first day, and we subtracted whatever we rolled, and then the answer is how many spaces that you move. We did not play the games for Math with Confidence. It was subtraction tic-tac-toe. She preferred this one, and I could see some of the concepts clicking, like 9 minus 1 is 8. So when she would roll a 1, I would say, okay, what plus 1 equals 9? She'd say 8. Okay. So when on the workbooks, that concept wasn't really clicking, but with the die, it was making more sense. So this is just giving different perspective. And Math Mammoth has online games as well, where you can just go on and you can go to practice. Like, you can build puzzles, you can do subtraction puzzles. They have a whole list of online games that you can play for subtraction. And Math Mammoth for activities and games, I definitely recommend. Both kids really, really loved this. Next week, we're either gonna I haven't decided if we're going to do just a week of Math Mammoth for her, if we're going to do Math with Confidence plus half of a worksheet with Math Mammoth. We'll kind of see where she is. Again, I don't want to overwhelm her, but I think this game is going to stay into our rotation. We're doing well. No tears over subtraction yet. Last year with my son, we definitely had some tears. So I'm really glad that so far with both kids, subtraction, it's frustrating for them, but they're getting the concept, and with all of these different resources, it's been good. So at this point on Monday, because we're still on Monday, I'm pretty sure we were like well after lunch at this point. We have science, which we didn't do this week. We're supposed to be adding that in next week, and then we have Spanish. So we did eat lunch, and then we came back for Spanish. Now, the way I have Spanish set up, I have a number of different resources, and The first one is Arte y Mas, which is a PBS curriculum, and it is a full curriculum. They have 60 lessons. Our goal is to do one lesson a week. So we were on lesson one all this week. The videos are online. You watch the video, and then it gives you vocabulary, it gives you teaching tips, extension activities, and different points to go over. So we watched the video, and it was like maybe 10 minutes, and it's all in Spanish. And I was a little concerned that the kids were going to be like, I don't understand what she's saying, but they were so engaged in it. They were so, I don't know what it is, but the way that the woman teaches, they understood what she was saying somehow, and they loved it. They wanted to watch it again. So we watched the video. We just went over, they give you flashcards in the curriculum. This is a completely free curriculum. They give you flashcards. And so you talk about what the words mean. You go over the flashcards, and then that was it. So that's all we did for Spanish on Monday. So that is going to be like the longest part of the lesson, is watching that video. Then for the rest of the week, we have their Spanish workbooks. And this is a workbook that I got from Evan Moore, Carson DeLosa website, sorry. And it is the complete book of starter Spanish. And we are just going to do one workbook a day, one sheet a day. And this is something we're going to, instead of doing it in the afternoon like I have, we're going to move it into the morning as part of our morning time. So we did a number of different colors this week. We did rojo, we did azul, we did amarillo, we did azul. So as long as the kids could tell me what color they wanted to use on their coloring page, they were allowed to use that crayon. So we did a lot of color review. So we did a worksheet a day. So we did 3 worksheets. And then on Thursday, they wanted to watch the video again. So we went at the end of the day and we watched the video. And then the other thing we're doing for Spanish, this was my daughter's idea. She wanted to write down the words that she was using in her planner. So these are their planners that I made for them. So she wrote down rojo, amarillo, and azul. So every day that they learn a color, they want to write the color that they learned. So that's fine. I told them they could write whatever they wanted in their journal. And so she asked if she could write down the color that they learned. Great. So this is also something that we did in the morning. We did our August calendar. So I show them a calendar. And so they have to use, they copy the month, and then they will look and figure out what day of the month that the month starts on, and then they have to follow the calendar. So we work on days, we work on the dates of the month, and then when we open up our planner, we say today is Monday, August 3rd, Tuesday, August 4th, and so forth. So this is just calendar practice. Okay, so that for Tuesday, for our brain block, all we did was our Spanish. I did not bring out the Evan Moore workbooks. Again, I'm going to have to figure out where all of these things link up together. We did math and pinwheels, and then we did our museum project. I got to get the books. Oh my gosh. All right. So Tuesday is the museum project. And this week we focused on the kids and who they were. So last week we just did an introduction to the program. This week we focused on the kids and who they were. And it started with this book, which this book I would recommend everybody read. My husband is Black, I am white, our children are mixed, and they have always, well, not always, the difference in skin color has always been an observation of theirs, and they have been very vocal about it. We've always talked about it. We live in the Virgin Islands, where their families like ours are very common, so it's never been something they've looked in any sort of different way. When we travel to the States, especially with my family, they notice the difference. We'll just put it that way. Again, this is something that we've talked about. We've always talked about. Anyway, this book, it talks about why our skin is all different colors. So it talks about their parents and their ancestors, and how your skin is different because of the sun. It talks about freckles. It talks about melanin. It talks about how people that come from cold places have lighter skin. People that come from hot places have darker skin. It talks about sunburn. It's just this book is perfect for their level. Um, but this is also, we're talking about our ancestors here and, you know, who we are now because of our ancestors, and we're making that all part of the museum project. So this book was just, and it's also in Spanish, so it's a bilingual book. But this book was just amazing. I cannot recommend it enough, especially if you want to explain skin color and the difference of skin color to your young kids. This book was awesome, and the kids really, really loved it. They wanted to read it again, and it's like it gave them answers that um in just such a simple way, and they just really loved it. They just really, really loved it. And then we also read on Thursday Black, White, Just Right, and this is about a child that has um, a white dad and a black mom, and just about how their mom is one way, the dad is another way, and how she is her own little person. Yes, she's got parts from both parents, but she is very much her own little person, and that's just right. So this is also a really, really nice book. But the kids really, really, really loved this book. So I highly recommend this, All the Colors We Are. So that was our two reads for the week. And then we started our All About Me board. I ordered these off Amazon, and they're a little bit smaller than I expected them to be. But each board is we're going to do a board for each country that we study, but we're also going to do one for each child. And then we're going to do a board for our family. So we're going to do one like for our family tree. So it opens up here. You can kind of see it. We're going to put their name at the top, and then we're going to put a picture of their themselves as a baby, and then pictures of how they are now, and then they're going to decorate their board with all different things that they love to do that tells people coming to their museum about them. So they've already started. They picked their baby pictures. They picked the picture of their current self that they want to be in the board. So yeah, so that was our big museum project for the week. We did this twice a week. We read a story, and then we talked about stories, and then we started working on our display board. So that is the museum project. Wednesday was exploring the world through story. We didn't do it. We just sat down and we did our handwriting, we did our planner, and we did our Spanish notebook in the morning, and then we moved right on to our core block. And then I don't remember that day. For some reason, that took us a really long time that day too. And then we did our nature study. What we did is we have had a red-tailed hawk in our backyard lately. So what I did is I printed off pictures of the red-tailed hawk, and then I have this, a guide to the birds of the West Indies. We read the information, we learned about the chicken hawk, or the red-tailed hawk, and then we looked at the picture. We looked at a couple pictures online. We looked at the picture in the book, and then we painted it. So this is mine. I painted it with them. Now, I did explain to them that for nature study, you're trying to copy what you see in the book. You're trying to, what you observe, you're trying to put on paper. This is my daughter's, which I thought she did really well. I did print out a coloring page of a red-tailed hawk. I did not have them do it, just from, making the bird. I wanted them to have some lines. My son took it a little bit more abstract. So this is his red-tailed hawk. We sat there in the evening, and it actually landed in the tree, so we got to see it. So that was our nature study for the week, is just looking at the red-tailed hawk and painting what we saw. So on Thursday, we started with our Spanish notebook, and we also did our social studies workbook for the Virgin Islands. On this day, we just learned what an island was, and then it asked you to color in the 4 islands of the Virgin Islands. So St. Thomas, St. John, St. Croix, and Water Island. You had to do one in each color. And then, yeah, again, we just do 20 minutes on this on a Thursday. So by the time the kids were done coloring, it was time to get into our school. Uh, but this is a nice little curriculum. All right. So after that, we did math, we did pinwheels, and then we did our museum project, and then the kids wanted to watch the video again for Spanish, so we ended up watching the video again. Now for Friday, Friday is our light day. Friday we take our briefcase. We call it our briefcase. It opens up, oopsie, and it has pockets and things. So we put in our light stuff, which is explode the code. We have Life of Fred, and then we have our mathematical reasoning. And today we took exploring the world through story, just because I wanted to see if it would go well with our Friday. So we are officially moving exploring the world through story on Friday. The other thing that I have on Friday is artistic pursuit. So I had it slated to start artistic pursuit today, but we are not adding it in this week, and that's going to be for a number of reasons. Number one, I still don't have a DVD player, but my kids discovered over the week, they discovered Art Hub for Kids on YouTube, and every single day they have been sitting down for minimum of 1 hour and just drawing from Art Hub on YouTube, Art Hub for Kids. So I just brought out, we have the unicorn popsicle, we have a pineapple, strawberry, and watermelon. I mean, I just got my son's drawing notebooks in the mail on August 1st, and he has already filled half of it up. So we're going to definitely have to keep those little notebooks coming, but they have done enough art this week. And I just need to kind of gather my thoughts on how I want to proceed with our schedule. So for right now, and then on top of that, we have been doing our museum board of all about us. So we're thinking about what to add, we're coloring it in, all of these things. So we are going to delay starting the volume 1 of Artistic Pursuits. I don't know if that means next week. I don't know if that means next term, but we are going to delay this. There are 18 lessons in this volume. So I'm sorry, I'm trying not to get the glare. There are 18 lessons in this volume, and I want to have it done by the end of the year. So I got time to bring it in. So I think we're going to kind of settle in with our schedule and see where and when this fits in. We're going to be doing crafts with the museum project. We're going to be doing science experiments starting next week. So I need to see where this makes sense to bring in. So that brings us to next week. Next week we are bringing in science. Now I will come out with a video about what we're doing for science for next week. We are still doing BFSU, but we are going to be waiting until probably the beginning of next year to start that, because I have a weather unit that I want to do. I had it slated out for 9 weeks, but actually after putting everything together and putting all of the going through it like lesson by lesson, I think it's going to end up going about 12 weeks, if not more. And the last thing I want to do is start a new curriculum like right before Christmas, because if I remember last year, like that month like between Thanksgiving and Christmas, we need to do less and not bring in more. So next week should be interesting, bringing in science. I think it's going to be a lot. So I'm going to really sit down, and I'll probably end up doing a video at the end of next week with bringing in science, because right now I really don't know where it's going to fit. This week we did end up doing school after lunch, like pretty much every day. And that's not my goal. I don't want to do a whole day of school, especially at this age. So I have to see where everything fits, where everything makes sense. The kids really, really love what we're doing. So it's not like I want to just cut stuff out. Uh, it might just be more about juggling and seeing where everything fits so that we can get everything done, but maybe not all at the same time. So I don't know if that makes sense. So yeah, that was our week. I have my car back. I'm trying not to let it go to my head about my new car already malfunctioning. But if you have any feedback on what you use to keep all of your digital files, please let me know, because man, that was a hit. That was a hit, losing my external hard drive. Okay. Yes. So if you have any questions on anything you've seen or any feedback, or let me know how your second week is going, or your weeks into your school, however long you are. Is everything going well? Have you had to cut a lot of it? Yeah, please let me know. Let me know how it's going. Thank you for watching, and thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.